We are talking probiotics. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and ask them. I'm not sure if I will see them, but I will try. And if I don't see them while I'm talking, I will answer them afterwards. So probiotics are one of the very first things I always recommend to all of my clients. So basically, if you have any issues or if you're alive, you need to be eating fermented foods or you need to be taking probiotics daily or both. Okay, so if you are not making raw sauerkraut at home, if you're not making raw fermented vegetables, then you're going to need to be taking a daily probiotic. Okay, and there's a lot of reasons why, but we are going to talk about just a few of them today so that we can get the point across in a short-ish amount of time. But again, if you have any questions, let me know, okay? So comment below if you already do take a daily probiotic, and if you eat like some type of yogurt that says it has a probiotic in it, that does not count. That does not count, so you're not allowed to say you do. You would need to be taking either the Life 9 or the Mighty Pro by Young Living or a professional grade probiotic to answer yes. So let me know if you are doing that in the comments, because every single person needs to be doing it. Every single child, even infants can take probiotics. Now, Young Living doesn't have an infant probiotic, but as a nutritionist, I have access to an amazing infant probiotic. So if you have an infant and you, maybe they have colic, maybe they're fussy, maybe they have tummy problems, I definitely recommend them taking a daily probiotic. So just message me and I can hook you up with the best infant probiotic, and I can even get you a discount on it because I have a professional account. So anyway, let's talk probiotics. Okay, so if you're not taking a daily probiotic, or again, eating those fermented foods that you've made yourself, then you're missing a huge piece of the puzzle for optimal health and healing. Okay, regardless of any symptom you have going in the body, or to create optimal health for life. So if there was a perfectly healthy person, okay, who knows if there is that kind of person right now in the world because of everything we're bombarded with? There probably isn't, right? But when we were first created, a perfectly healthy person has approximately 100 trillion microorganisms from 400 different species flourishing in our intestinal tract. Okay, so we have a whole microbiome, a whole bunch of these beneficial bacteria, we're supposed to, flourishing in our intestinal tract, 100 trillion, this is what we're supposed to have, from 400 different species flourishing in our intestinal tract. And their job is to help with digestion, to help us absorb nutrients, to help us produce B vitamins, to help us produce vitamin K, and to help us produce enzymes and more, okay? So these beneficial bacteria that we are supposed to have help crowd out harmful bacteria, okay? So they help keep the bad bacteria from taking over. They also help regulate peristalsis and bowel movement, so the movement of everything throughout our body so that we can detox everything and get it out. They also break down bacterial toxins. So as you know, everything that we're taking in through food, through water, through our mouth, our intestinal tract is the one that's protecting us from bacteria, virus, fungus, whatever that is. So these beneficial bacteria break down bacterial toxins so that we don't get sick, or so that toxic chemicals don't attack our bodies, okay? We need these beneficial bacteria, again, to make vitamins. These beneficial bacteria actually make vitamins in our intestinal tract, and they also help us use the vitamins. Okay, so some of the vitamins that these beneficial bacteria help us make and utilize are B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B12, vitamin A, and vitamin K. Okay, so as you know, B vitamins are super important and many, many people are deficient in them. And if you're deficient in B vitamins for long enough, that's dementia. Okay, dementia can be created just from a lack of B vitamins. So if you don't have enough beneficial bacteria, that can actually create dementia. So there's that. Okay, more things that these beneficial bacteria do are digest protein into amino acids. So when we take in food, it's not in the form that our body can utilize. Our body has to do things to the food that we eat in order to create it into a form that our body can utilize. Now, if our digestive system isn't working optimally, if our microbiome isn't perfect, we cannot turn these foods into usable forms. So we literally get nothing from our food. Okay, so even if you have the most beautiful, perfect, amazing diet, if you don't have enough beneficial bacteria, you can't utilize the things that you are eating, even if they're like the most beautiful food that you're growing in your garden and everything. So these beneficial bacteria help us digest protein into amino acids to utilize in our body. These beneficial bacteria also produce antibiotics and antifungals. You guys, our body is amazing and miraculous. As long as we give it what it needs, it is working all day, every day to keep us healthy and well. That is what our body wants more than anything, okay? So if we give it these beneficial bacteria, our body produces antibiotics and antifungals within itself, okay? These beneficial bacteria help break down sugars, help break down lactose, and help break down oxalates. Okay, so again, helping us digest our food, helping us assimilate nutrients, helping us do everything. Okay, these beneficial bacteria also support the immune system and actually increase the number of immune cells in our body. These beneficial bacteria also balance our intestinal pH. So I'm sure that you've heard if your pH is off, that is where cancer thrives. Okay, so different parts of your intestinal tract have to be at different pH levels. Okay, it's kind of like every other spot. So one is acid, one is alkaline, one is acid, one is alkaline, and it needs to be in order for it to work properly. So these beneficial bacteria help balance our intestinal pH, and these beneficial bacteria protect us against environmental toxins. So they help protect us against mercury, against pesticides, against pollution, against all the things that we're bombarded with all day, every day. Okay? But here's the problem. Levels of these beneficial bacteria have to be maintained throughout our entire life. Okay? By consuming cultured and fermented foods, prebiotic foods, and probiotic and prebiotic supplements. Now, since most people are not making their raw sauerkraut and their raw fermented veggies and things at home and eating them every day, most people need to supplement with a daily probiotic, okay, including babies. So let's talk about why a baby would need a probiotic, okay? So we pass our gut health on to our babies, okay, as mothers. So if we have dysbiosis in our gut, if we have leaky gut, if we don't have, perfect harmony within our microbiome, if we don't have amazing beneficial bacteria and amazing enzymes and amazing digestion and amazing everything else, then we pass on those issues to our children. Okay, now the toxic burden in our world has just been increasing and increasing and increasing over time. So not only are our children born with a problematic microbiome because we have a problematic microbiome, okay, then they're bombarded with all these toxins. So they're not only not getting good gut health from the start. So the way that their microbiome is created is in the birth canal. So when they're being birthed, now if you have a C-section, that messes everything up because they're not coming through the birth canal. They're meant to come through the birth canal, and that's where their microbiome begins to become populated. There is some new research that it does start to become populated in utero from the placenta, okay? But as they're coming out, they also add on to that microbiome through the birth canal. Again, C-section, that gets screwed up. If you get antibiotics when you're in labor, if you get an epidural, anything like that's going to screw it all up, right? Then they get it from breast milk, okay? If you have formula, nada, okay? So, not to say one is good and one is bad, it's just the reality of it, okay? There's no guilt anywhere on anything, no matter which way you have the baby, no matter which way you feed the baby, it doesn't matter, right? Even if you have a vaginal birth and even if you breastfeed, chances are you're not passing on a very good microbiome to your baby anyway, because we don't have a very good microbiome. That's why one of the things that I love to teach as a nutritionist is how to really create health within your body before getting pregnant so that you can have a better environment for your baby. Okay, so let's talk about what messes up our microbiome. So, as adults and then as babies, as they go throughout their life, all the things that happen within our day and in our life completely destroy our gut bacteria. So, taking antibiotics. Raise your hands if you've ever taken antibiotics. Okay? Taking over-the-counter things like Advil, Motrin, Midol, Tylenol, all of those kill your gut bacteria. Taking birth control pills, kill your good gut bacteria. Chlorine in drinking water, kill your gut bacteria. Chlorine in cleaning products, in hand sanitizers, in sanitizing sprays, kill your gut bacteria, okay? All of this damages our gut health, and then we pass it on to our children, but without knowing. We're not trying to, okay? Changes in the acid and alkaline balance of our intestinal tract also damages our gut bacteria. But remember, we need our gut bacteria to balance it. So it's like a downward spiral. If we have a poor diet, that's going to damage our gut bacteria. If we're exposed to radiation, which we all are all day, every day, from the cell signals, from the EMF and all of that stuff, that also damages our gut bacteria. If you have radiation or chemotherapy, that kills your good gut bacteria. So what happens is basically every single person, every single day needs to keep replenishing and replenishing and replenishing that beneficial bacteria just to maintain adequate health, not even vibrant health, just to maintain adequate health, okay? So what happens when we don't have enough beneficial bacteria in our intestinal tract, okay? Almost every single thing that you would ever complain about is related to not enough beneficial bacteria in your intestinal tract. So I'm just going to name some of them, but I can guarantee that whatever you're complaining about or ever do complain about or hear someone complain about is related to a lack of beneficial bacteria in the gut, okay? So acne, ADHD, ADD, autism, allergies, anxiety, arthritis, asthma, bladder and urinary tract infections, breast tumors, cancer, cardiac issues, chronic fatigue, colitis and Crohn's disease, colon cancer, compromised immunity, constipation, depression, diarrhea, diverticulitis, ear and respiratory infections, bad breath and body odor, gastritis, headaches, hormonal imbalance, IBS, liver and gallbladder problems, migraine headaches, PMS, sinus problems, spastic colon, stomach bleeding, yeast infections. The list is endless. Brain fog, anything you can think of, okay, is related to a lack of beneficial bacteria, okay? And if you're just popping on, be sure you start at the beginning because there was a lot of important information throughout this whole video, so you don't want to miss any of that, okay? So, since you're probably not eating these fermented foods daily, And even if you are, you're probably not eating them consistently and enough. That is why we need to take a daily probiotic. So Young Living has 2 amazing probiotics, okay? They have a capsule that anyone who can swallow a capsule can take. It's called Life 9. And when you order it, you're going to want to put it in your refrigerator when you open it. Okay? So once it's opened, put it in your refrigerator. I just put it in my refrigerator right when it comes. Okay? And you just take 1 every single day. Now, the best time to take it is either first thing in the morning or last thing at night before you go to bed. Okay? So that you have an empty stomach and so that it can go to town and do all of its good things when there's nothing else competing with it, like food and whatnot. Okay? Before you go to bed at night is a great time because while you're sleeping, that's where everything is kind of regenerating and rebuilding and repairing. But whenever you'll remember better. So whether you'll remember better first thing in the morning or whether you'll remember better at night before you go to bed, it doesn't matter as long as you take it every day, 1 a day. Okay? For children, Young Living has something called Mighty Pro, and it's literally the only probiotic that I've ever been able to get my kids to take without literally forcing them. Before Young Living came out with theirs, I used to purchase a professional brand that was like way more expensive and tasted disgusting. It was a chewable, and it would literally sit in our refrigerator, and unless I forced my kids to take it, I would end up throwing it away because it would go bad before they would take it. Now they're like begging for more and more Mighty Pro. It's so delicious. I even take it sometimes because it's just so yummy. I've never met a kid who doesn't like it. It tastes like a pixie stick. It's delicious. And really easy to travel with as well. So that's just a little bit about probiotics. Next week, I'm going to come live to talk about digestive enzymes, okay? And those are also super, super important for gut health. So if you guys, again, have any questions about probiotics, ask them in the comments, and I will see you guys to talk about digestive enzymes next week. And if you missed my video last week on supplements in general, that's a really, 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 really important one to watch. So if you didn't see that, let me know and I can tag you in the general supplements video that I did last week. All right? So anyway, let me know what questions you have and I will talk to you guys later.